You're listening to The Hardpoint with Onexpunchxdad and Code Rome's. Welcome back to The Hardpoint, episode number 61, baby. 61. Wow. We're glad to have you back. My name is Josh. I go by Onexpunchxdad online.
My name is Cody. I go by Big C Murd.
Big C Murd. No.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. Seis Uno?
I think it's Seis Uno or Seis Uno. One of the two.
Seis Uno.
I don't speak Spanish. Welcome back, everyone. We're back to form. Zero sick people on this podcast.
Yeah.
Scanning.
Not gonna be working that cough button quite as much this time.
I'm scanning right now, and I am detecting zero illness in the group, in the room with us.
We're over it.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. All foreign contaminants have been eliminated. Cody, back to form this week. How you feeling, bud?
One hundo.
One hundo, he says.
Hundo. Yep. I'm all the way back. Although my whoop-de-doop would beg to differ.
Oh, 30%. What happened, man?
I don't know. I feel pretty good. I got 8.5 hours of sleep last night. But what does it say? Despite getting good sleep, your HRV is 23% lower than usual.
Hold on.
Try to hydrate.
What's HRV? Back up.
HRV is heart rate variability. Heart rate variability measures the variance in time between your heartbeats while you are asleep. It's a great indicator of how well your body can adapt to its environment. Very blah, blah, blah. Upward trends in HRV are a sign that your nervous system is balanced and your body is performing at its best. Downward trends can be a sign of overtraining, lack of sleep, dehydration, or other negative factors like stress.
This is the most capitalist app I've ever heard of in my life. You gave it all 8 hours. And it was like, we know you did a good job, but you actually did a terrible job. Here's why. You didn't drink.
It's kind of crazy. Dude, I think it is. I didn't drink very much water yesterday and works really bad. I feel stressed and dehydrated. And even though I got a lot of sleep,
30%.
I mean,
it knows.
Kind of crazy.
It knows.
It
does it like wake up in the middle of the night and just like push on your tummy to see how much water's in there? How does it know?
HRV.
HRV.
It just knows.
The science is sound, I guess. I don't know.
I know. It's the same thing to me as like a smart scale telling me my body fat percentage. How do you know that? How do you know that?
Body fat.
I'm standing on you, and you're telling me that I'm whatever.
We've never really talked about this, but body fat percentage is actually a lot harder to determine than people think. To the point that the Army has several times like revisited and tried to revise like how they measure, because we actually get like our body fat measured, and if you're over a certain percentage, you're considered overweight. But a lot of the methods, and a lot of the methods that they use aren't necessarily like, they don't encompass like all the body types and all the like.
Do they do the clamp on the back of the arm still? You remember that?
Yeah. Yes, they don't do that. So we literally just take a piece of measuring tape. The way we do it is so like pre-war 1940s. It'll blow your mind in 2025 that this is the height of the exercise for them. They literally take a measuring tape, like a loosey-goosey measuring tape, and put it around your waist and your neck.
Mm-hmm.
And they measure it 2 or 3 times or however many times, and that apparently tells them based on your height how much body fat you have.
Really?
Yeah.
What if you just have a big neck?
I, believe it or not, am like on the line all the time.
Of being fat?
Of being fat. And I'm not fat. I'm not a fat guy. I'm just real dense.
Right. What do they say your percentage is, if you don't mind sharing?
Lately it's been like 20s, 22, which I feel like is like, I just don't feel like I'm that fat. Like
dude, I don't think there's any way. Generally, I think 20 plus is like pudgy people. Like you'd be having some jiggly wiggly in the midsection, and you are so far from that.
I don't feel like it's right, man. Like I'm definitely like among the more in shape people in most organizations that I'm in. And I'm 36, so the fact that I'm still in shape when most of my colleagues, looking at you guys, not holding up so great. I'm kidding.
Well, my smart scale says that I am obese for my height.
What a hunk of shit, man.
Literally, there's a scale, and it's like, whatever, and I am obese. It also tells me I'm 14.2% body fat. And you and I are not 7% different. There's no way. So
you can't be obese and 14% body fat at the same time.
Yeah, it's very contradicting. I don't understand it.
Whatever, man. I'm just like shooting from the hip, man. As long as I look pretty good naked, I'm happy.
Right.
I'm happy.
How often do you evaluate that?
Lately it's been like yearly, if that, just because of the nature of my current job. I'm not weighing in a ton, which I don't mind. Like I'll do it once a week if they want me to, because I know.
No, I mean the naked body check.
Like how often am I checking to see if I look good naked?
Yeah,
about as often as I take a shower, brother. I mean, we're doing an inspection.
Yep,
in the mirror, dude. If you're one of those weirdos that can put your deodorant on, brush your teeth, get in and out of the shower, and not
on a flex,
do a little turn on the catwalk or something. Come on now.
No, I'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah, man.
Doing the same thing.
I actually learned, like, I'm not to be corny, but I listened to like a motivational like podcast thing several weeks back, and it was like, excuse me, now I'm coughing. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and looked at the person you saw in the mirror and thought, I love that person? And it made me look at myself in a very new and very interesting way. Like if you look at yourself like another person, you're like, would you be polite to them? Would you hold the door open for them? Like all the little ways like other people potentially are thinking about you. Do you think that way about yourself?
Right.
I was like, man. And then I flexed for a little bit and I felt a little better.
Like, hell yeah, I'd hold the door open for that guy. Yeah. Look at his guns.
I'll hold it so he doesn't rip it off the hinges with his massive pythons.
That's funny.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well,
this is the time of year where there's like not a lot going on. I'd ask you what you had going on this week, but we're watching football. Football's going on. I guess that's what the world cares about right now.
The two teams that I was rooting for both got sent home packing on Sunday.
Who were the two teams? Was the Lions one?
They got eliminated.
That was a week prior, right. But you were pulling for the Bills and then the Commanders, yeah?
Yes. My perfect scenario was the Bills and the Commanders win, and then the Bills win in the Super Bowl.
Yeah? Why Bills?
Dude, I like Josh Allen, and that poor fan base. They've never won. They've been so close. They are just they're in the Patrick Mahomes era. Like that team is good enough to win a Super Bowl, but they have to go through Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
It's just not.
You want to talk about Patrick Mahomes a little bit? Do you have some
Not
thoughts?
really. I really don't want to talk about Patrick Mahomes playing football this Sunday.
That didn't even sound like really. You. You don't like
Patrick.
You don't like the dynasty?
No.
All right, never mind.
No, like I find him annoying. I don't know. Who I really can't stand on this team is Travis Kelce. That dude was made in a lab to get under my skin. The mere sight of him makes me lose my mind. I don't know. I can't stand anything about him.
Really?
I hate the way he runs. I hate the way his face looks. I hate his hair. I hate that he's with Taylor Swift. I hate all of him.
Hang on, your wife is a Swiftie. Like she went to the Eras tour. Does this cause like confrontation between you guys?
She doesn't like when I say mean things.
About anyone, not just Travis Kelce.
Yes, but they just show her too often. I don't care about her. That's not why I'm watching the game. I don't need you to flash her sweet every time he makes a catch. It's not about her. She has nothing to do with this.
Facts.
You don't flash all the other players' girlfriends when they like. Who cares?
Do you feel there's a lot of people who think there's like some kind of deep seated conspiracy with like that's why the Chiefs are doing so well because Taylor Swift is somehow involved in this?
No, I don't.
Okay, what about the refs? I'm hearing the refs are straight crooked when it comes to the Chiefs.
I also don't even really subscribe to that. Every dynasty gets calls. They're not the first good team to get stuff to go their way. You know, it's just I think that's the way it works. I do feel like luck finds them always. And I do feel like they get a lot of those calls. But that's not, they're just good. I mean, I'm hating. I'm drinking that haterade, but like I know they're good. I'm not sitting here trying to sell anybody that they suck. They don't. And I probably can't stand them because I'm just tired of seeing them. I'm over it. It's old, but I don't think there's some big like conspiracy, you know, the league is pushing them along or anything. I don't know. I don't buy that.
Well, this has to be the most like pure form of Chiefs hatred out there. I think like, no, they're good. They're very lucky. The refs, I think the refs called it fairly. I just hate them. This Cody's stance. So fair enough, man. Wings of Eagles,
fly,
baby.
Eagles fly, baby.
Fly, Eagles fly, he says. We'll see. We'll see. At least we got another team in there this year. It's not Chiefs 49ers again.
Yeah, this was the Super Bowl 2 years ago, so it's not that new.
Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah. You're right. See, this is why I have you, because I'm bad at keeping up with this stuff.
Well, I mean, in the last like 3 years, there's been 3 teams basically. Maybe go back the last 5 years. There's like 3 teams that we've seen in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Chiefs, Eagles, 49ers. That's kind of it. Who else?
Like that's kind of it.
It is kind of it.
I think, I mean, Brady won one a few years back, so I guess Tampa Bay.
No one
I don't
cares
know.
about them.
I don't know. I don't want them to win a three-peat. I don't want to see it. I want to watch them hang their head in defeat and walk off the field as my boy Saquon Barkley is holding up that Lombardi.
We'll see, man. We'll see. You got about a week and a half. Say those prayers, I guess.
I have maintained, though, up to this point, if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl, they are going to win it. There's no way they're going to get that close to a three-peat, make it all the way to the Super Bowl, and lose then. My only hope for them not winning was to not make it there. And so I fully expect them to win.
So you think it's like a done deal that now that they're in it, they're going to get their hat trick?
Yeah, they're not going to get this close and not accomplish it. There's no way.
I mean, they're either so hungry that they are just like vehemently like, we are not going to fumble the bag, like, you know, like screw this up, or fumble the football, I guess. Or they are going to go in so cocky and arrogant because they're going in on 2 Super Bowl wins,
right?
That they absolutely fumble the bag.
Maybe. That's what I'm hoping for.
Maybe. We'll find out.
Then Travis and Taylor break up, and then everything's back to normal.
He loses a Super Bowl, and she's like, I don't like you anymore. So, bye, Woody. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Who are you going for?
I don't care.
You're going for the Chiefs. Huh?
I don't care. Here's where I'm at, because last year I was kind of like I was pro Chiefs. I lived in Kansas for a little bit. I kind of don't want them to win just because it is boring.
Yeah,
to me, I don't know. Like I don't think they're bad people. I don't have like any kind of like I don't look at Travis Kelce and think the thoughts you do. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I always kind of want the underdog to win a little bit. So yeah, in my mind, I'd rather the Eagles break the streak and send them packing.
Like a good underdog story.
Yeah.
can get behind that.
Yeah, dethroning a king who's not deserving of his throne. So yeah, we'll see. I guess we're Wings of Eagles on Super Bowl Sunday from the Hardpoint.
Yep.
Hey, let's pivot, man. Let's talk crushings. I've been a little more crushy this week. I don't know about you. How you feeling?
I've been a little less. I'll go first, but mine are pretty quick.
Okay. All right.
Don't have a lot of substance. I don't have a lot of stints to mine. So, I actually have a couple mediocre reviews. I've been crushing the new season of Severance.
Oh, okay.
And I would say so far, it's just okay.
Skipper, huh?
2 episodes in. I don't know. It's not. The first season bought enough favor with me where I will ride this season out pretty much no matter what. Like it would take an entire dumpster of a season for me to like rethink watching it forward.
Yeah.
I like the first season that much. But it's very slow so far. Nothing's really happening. Not a lot happened in the first episode. And then the second one was kind of a flashback leading up to the first episode. So we're 2 in and nothing's really happened. So I give Severance 2 thumbs sideways.
Two thumbs mid, he says.
Yep. 2 mid thumbs.
2 mid thumbs.
The other thing I started is a Apple TV Plus show called Silo.
Okay. All right. This is the lady from Dune is in this? Or maybe I'm thinking of it.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
I didn't put that together before this. I give it 2 thumbs sideways.
2 thumbs in.
It's okay. Have you ever watched a show that you would not declare was good, yet for some reason you keep coming back to it?
Oh, where to begin, man? Absolutely. We watched a show called the 100. Are you familiar with this show?
Oh yes, I've watched it. Yeah.
Perfectly mid show that I would probably weirdly watch again just because I have already and I know what happens.
I would not recommend this show. I'm not even particularly enjoying it, but I keep coming back to it for what it's got. This is going to sound like a weird way to describe it, but this comfort element to it that I'm watching it and it just feels comfortable. I don't know. The first episode had me, like it really gripped me and it was interesting and I couldn't wait for episode 2. Yeah. And then since then they've gone off on these weird side stories that have nothing to do with like the silo. In short, there's these people that live in this giant silo that's like 1,000 stories tall with a spiral staircase. Nobody knows why they're there. Nobody knows how they got there. Nobody knows anything about anything. They're just kind of there. And so the first episode explores like what's on the outside and whatever. But since then, it's just gone off on these random side stories about murders and nothing to do with the silo or what's going on outside. And so it's a curious choice to me that I'm 5 episodes in, and I assume at some point they'll circle back to that. But anyways, it's okay. I'm going to keep watching it for whatever reason. I can't explain it, but it's just okay.
I like the roller coaster effect on a new show. Like I want the click, 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 click. Yeah. And then episode 3 or 4, I want you to drop me. And then we're loop-de-looping. We're going upside down, all that stuff. I don't like a sudden drop and then we just coast.
Right. That's what this has been. This is kind of like bungee jumping. Like you jump off and there's that initial fall and then you're kind of just dangling.
Yeah. Well, 2 thumbs mid.
2 thumbs mid. And that's about it. I haven't played any games besides with you on Saturday night, which was fun.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any more movies. I'm still listening to After the Burial and Kubla Khan, Texas, and that's it.
Let me ask you, do you say it like that? Do you say when someone's like, hey, what are you listening to? Do you say Kubla Khan? Do you say Kubla Khan, Texas? Or do you say Kubla Khan TX?
Definitely not TX. I know I just said Texas. I don't even know if that's how I normally say it.
I think the quick speak is just Kubla Khan, right?
Right, yeah. Is it... what's the meaning behind their name? I'm not... Familiar.
they are based in Texas. They apparently none of them live in Texas anymore.
Oh wow!
But they claim Texas. Maybe they grew up in Texas or where.
What does Kublai Khan mean?
Kublai Khan is like it's like a Mongolian. Well, I feel like if I Google it, I'm going to get 100 results for the band and not anything. Kublai, I think I don't know if there was an actual like a Genghis Khan Kublai Khan, but I don't know. I know that the English dictionary, the word Khan means king.
King.
That's about all I know. But yeah, they're good as hell. Light week for me as well. I finished the show that we're going to talk about today, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
I did finish that. I had to kind of speed run the last episode last night, but I did take it in. Other than that, I did start a show on Netflix. It's an anime, so high likelihood you're not going to give a shit. But it's pretty funny. And a lot of animes have a lot of goofy shit going on, but they're not funny. But this one is legitimately, like, the premise is very cool, and I have out loud laughed at it a couple of times. It is called Sakamoto Days.
Let's look at this.
Sakamoto Days. And it is about there's basically this hitman, and he's the greatest hitman of all time. And he's essentially just like undefeatable, very handsome, very strong, very just like super John Wick vibes or whatever. And he meets a woman and falls in love with her and decides to retire and has a kid with her. And then he purchases a convenience store that he runs. He's like the shop owner, and he gets fat.
Okay, I was about to say, I see a fat guy in an apron.
And he's this chubby dude with like, you know, the cartoon thing where their glasses are just like opaque and you can't see their eyeballs.
Yeah.
He's this chubby, kind of unassuming shop owner, but he still kicks major ass. And of course, like all of these things happen, and like he finds himself in situations where he's having to like recall his hitman, you know, assassin skills and kick the shit out of everyone. So, and the stuff that like the show's very aware of a lot of the ridiculousness, and so it just leans right into it, and it's really, really funny. And the peaceful, if you're looking for peaceful, because you mentioned Silo being a little peaceful, there's some very sneaky like slice of life kind of like cozy stuff in this show, in between like I said, like John Wick style, like gunfights and kung fu and stuff.
Is it super brutal? Like, is it?
It's not the most brutal anime I've ever watched, not by a long shot. But there's some like heads getting cut off and stuff already.
Okay.
Yeah,
dude, this looks good. Kind of interested in that.
It's good, man. I know you're not an anime guy. I got it. If you were gonna get it, if there was
repeat that,
if there was a good, now, trust me, I got it. You don't need to tell me anymore. But no, it's good if you're looking for one that's kind of like accessible from like a Western sense of humor standpoint and is fun to watch. This is a pretty good one. Like the lore's not crazy insane, or like they're not teeing up some kind of like, oh, I gotta remember this guy and remember this guy and remember this. There's like, I'm like 3 episodes in and there's like 4 characters. So
what's the runtime on one of these episodes?
It's like 20. Yeah, it's like 20 minutes. They're quick.
Is it based off of a comic or anything, or is this like an original idea?
I don't think I've ever watched an anime that wasn't based off like a manga. So I'm gonna assume that yes, it probably is. But it's really good.
It looks good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's very bright, kind of cheery, but also really badass. I'm loving that. And then from a video game standpoint, me and Cody slayed some. We ran some Warzone this weekend, which was a lot of fun. Played a good chunk. We played big maps and we played Resurgence. A lot of Squid Game going on right now, man. They are going full tilt into the Squid Game, which I'm sure Cody was loving because, well, he is just the biggest Squid Game Season 2 especially fan.
See, if it was Season 1, I'd be hyped.
Yeah.
But it was Season 2.
I didn't really. So I have played a couple of like multiplayer matches without you where they do include some some of the actual like games. Like there was like a red light, green light mechanic or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, but yeah, other than that, it's just like flavor of the week. There's a new update that came out today, apparently. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn my Xbox on right here so that hopefully that update runs in the background. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Call of Duty's still pretty fun. It's not.
Yeah.
It hasn't been the renaissance I hoped it would. Life has also kind of like kept it from being that. I feel like in any other stage of my life, I probably would be playing this Call of Duty a whole lot, but I haven't had a ton of time to do that, unfortunately. So, but it is.
I've had a couple of videos pop up that are like, what happened to 2019? Like, what happened to Warzone? Or I missed my 2019 Warzone, and it'll just be a video of, you know, like, is that kind of when it came out, 2019?
I think. Well, we got Modern Warfare revamp, whatever, in 2019. Which was cool, right? Because that's when you and I were like, all right, we're back, baby.
Right.
And then Warzone came out the following spring, like essentially right when COVID happened. That's when Warzone happened. Could not have timed that better, Activision.
No.
Good job, I guess.
Have you seen any videos like that are kind of thrown back to like, dude, it looks completely different. It kind of happened gradually in front of our eyes. It looks like a different game in 2019.
It really does. I think for me, a lot of the like Warzone experience was like weirdly like Verdansk was a huge part of it, right? You know,
yeah.
I mean, we played Verdansk a lot. So that map is just in itself very iconic. And then a lot of it was just like the sounds. Like I feel like the sounds have changed so much. You know, like you remember that kind of like honk when your teammate got down, like that.
Yes,
like stuff like that. It's like you know, and the guy being like, "You're being sent to the gulag" or whatever.
That now the guns that are like sitting on the ground are glowing like Fortnite. You know, they have like the legendary status. Like,
yeah,
it was never exactly like multiplayer, just battle royale, but it's gotten even further away from being anything like multiplayer. You know what I'm saying?
In my mind, just from being, and I am the most casual out there. I am not some kind of gaming expert at all. Don't take this too seriously, but in my mind, just kind of like in the bleachers watching, there is a confluence point where Fortnite and Call of Duty, which used to be starkly different experiences, are effectively going to weave together. And that is no more evident than when you stand in the lobby and look at all the fucking ridiculous skins that people are wearing.
I know.
And I'm not trying to be a hater. If you want to be a bunny rabbit or Nicki Minaj and pick up an AK-47 and parachute into a dystopian Russian town or wherever the hell it is now, and kill your buddies or kill some kid from across the world, that's fine. But also, yes, I agree. Call of Duty has lost so much of its identity chasing the other things that the other games have implemented, seemingly to make more money.
Right. Well, and that's what we had a brief conversation when we were playing that I miss the more realistic, slow-paced, you know, kind of like our PUBG days. Or even that's maybe my memory of DMZ is more fun than what the reality would be. But this idea of a more realistic, you know, clear a building, move to the next one, clear that building, watch your corners, watch your alleys, watch your wide open roads. I want that. And what Warzone is today is so far removed from that. There's nothing tactical about Warzone today. It is all jumping, sliding, glowing, you know, shield, armor, all this stuff, and that's just not as fun to me.
I think that's precisely the thing that pushes people to play games like Escape from Tarkov. You know what I mean? That is a game, again, I haven't played, and I've been told I need to play for the exact reason we're talking about, right? Because Tarkov has skins and stuff in it like that, but they're not like, you know, it's not like whatever Juice World or T-Pain or anything crazy or
like a camo or something.
Yeah,
something normal.
Brian Cox from Succession or some shit like that. I don't know. But yeah, Tarkov is supposed to be a really good. The problem with Tarkov is it's only on PC. It's not a problem necessarily, but you're my only like real gaming buddy, man. So if you're not going to play it, I probably won't play it.
I would love to play it. I didn't realize that I have a gaming laptop. I don't know how hard this thing could go. We should try.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard you speak of Tarkov not very fun. Am I making that up?
I've never played it. I can't speak for or against it, but hey, if we can get it to work, we should give it a shot. Maybe we'll stream.
I'll try and download it on my laptop and see if I can't run it that way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's been what we're missing this entire time.
Yeah, maybe this is the secret ingredient, right? We're just gonna.
I could also use a good Battlefield. Supposedly the next one coming out is supposed to be more of like go back to like the Battlefield 4 type roots. Nothing too futuristic and nothing too out there, but also move away from like the World War I or World War II. I just want like a new Battlefield 4, and I was hoping that's what 2042 would be, and it wasn't. But something that's kind of modern day. I don't want to have a fucking flight suit, and all that. I just want something like very tactical, realistic, and modern based, but with modern graphics and mechanics.
Yeah.
Since Battlefield 4 is a little older.
Battlefield 2 is definitely like it's funny that people fight. I think we've had this conversation. It's funny people that like they only play one or the other to me because it's like they're two different games in my mind. They control completely different.
Yeah.
They feel completely different. They're fun in very different ways. Mm-hmm. I play them differently. I loved Battlefield 5. I know a lot of people don't like Battlefield 5. I like Battlefield 5. I like Battlefield 1. I did not have a good experience trying to play Battlefield 2042.
No.
It ran like a potato for me. But yeah, absolutely, man. I think give me a good, simple, something about the way like Modern Warfare 19 came back and was just like, here is meat, potatoes, a little bit of salt and pepper, baby, and we're just going back to the battlefield. Yep. That's what it needs. And if it feels like you're borrowing from that a little bit, that's fine. That worked for Call of Duty. And best case scenario, 6 years later, you're turning into Fortnite just like them. So I don't know. We'll see. I definitely don't want like a Battlefield, like a realistic shooter where it's like you look to your left and, whatever, a rapper is there or,
Oh, yeah. I don't either.
Like Chaperone with a Panzerfaust or something. I don't know.
Call of Duty the merge between COD and Fortnite is happening. Battlefield, that would be a real letdown if they start kind of gravitating towards that just
silliness. It's for kids.
The silliness.
It really is. Yeah. It is. How do we get kids playing this? Kids like colors.
Yep.
Kids love,
fast paced.
Yeah.
They don't want to be patient. They don't want to systematically clear building by building. Yeah. They just want to jump, slide, spin.
They need to come out with a game mode or even like a game playlist on Call of Duty that's like old guy Call of Duty.
30 plus.
Everything is brown, green, or gray.
Yep.
The only gun colors are black, slightly less dark black, brown wood. You don't get turned into confetti when you get shot. None of that crap.
No gun statuses.
Yeah. None of that. Nope. No dangled pot leaves on the banner, whatever. The calling card. I'm just kidding.
The good old days.
The good old days, baby. I don't care. It's fun, but it's definitely like, boy, times they are changing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, Tarkov. We're gonna try that.
Yeah. We're actually gonna do it. We have a bad habit of saying we're gonna do this, and we never do it.
At least we're not putting it out there for everybody to hear us make claims that we're never gonna do.
Oops. All right. Hey. This week last week rather, or well, let's back it up 2 weeks. Cody mentioned that he got started watching American Primeval on Netflix. It's out now. It is 6 episodes. It is a limited miniseries, so it is not. It's not going to have like a recurring thing, to my knowledge, anyway. Recommended it. Told me it had Red Dead vibes.
Yep.
Came back last week. I had started it. I was enjoying it. And so we decided this week we were going to go full tilt and get a little spoilery in it.
Yep.
And discuss American Primeval and some of our thoughts on that. I want to kind of defer to you because you pushed this show pretty hard. I think you sent me at least 1 or 2 texts like, "You finish it? Did you finish it? Like, are you watching it?"
Yep.
I want to know kind of start to finish. And before we get started, yes, this is a spoiler cast. So if you haven't finished it and you don't want to ruin it, maybe hang on to this episode until you finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to know where you're at, man, because the ending to this show is very different than what I thought was going to happen, and it ended different than that. So hit me.
Sorry, I'm looking pale. There we go. The ending, it was really sad.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
Like really, really sad. I had a feeling Isaac was not going to make it. You know, in a show like this, it's at best you're going to get a bittersweet ending. You're not going to get a happy ending.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky to get a bittersweet ending. And I was thinking it was going to be bittersweet.
I will say there came a point, and it was a good 15, 20 minutes out from the actual end of the series, where it became very evident that Isaac was going to die.
Yeah.
I was like,
you could just kind of tell.
too many signs. Too many signs.
Him dying was so sad.
Yeah.
I wish he would have just went with the girl when she asked towards the end. I thought it was strange that he was like, "No, I have to go back."
Yeah. For what, dog?
You know, and I get it. Right, exactly. And I get it, his wife and his child was buried there, and he's like, "That's the land that I know." But you don't have anything back there, and here's this chance at like a new chapter, a new family.
Yeah.
And so I felt like it was very I wanted him to just go with them. But he didn't. And he comes back and saves them, and then that's kind of what ends up killing him. I knew that guy was going to come back.
See, it totally blindsided me when he was standing. At first, I was like, "Wait, who is that?"
It was creepy, right?
It was the brother of the guy that they killed,
right?
And he was very like he did a good job of being very like I don't know menacing, I guess.
He did because leading up to that, the entire show, he was kind of the voice of reason.
Yeah,
within that little group, he was the level-headed one. He was the one saying, "You don't have to kill them. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. We can accomplish this without doing all this extra stuff." But when his brother got killed, something snapped. And you can tell it was somebody who just like had nothing to lose at that point.
Yeah.
He watched his brother be killed in front of him. And I knew when that scene ended that he was going to come back.
Be seeing him again. Sure enough.
Yes. So I wanted Isaac to go with him. He didn't. The other part, which I thought it was genius the way it all unfolded, genius in such a terrible way, is the guy that got scalped, how he ended up killing his own wife.
Yeah, that was almost more heartbreaking than Isaac dying to me because again, it was hard to tell that it was her initially.
Right.
Because she's wearing like war paint. She looks like one of the Indians or whatever. And he didn't know, obviously, because he's got like a sack on his head or whatever. But yeah, and his heartache in that moment, that whole scene, the whole Fort Bridger siege is pretty insane. The way that all set up, I mean, this whole series, if you watched episode 1 and then just watched episode 6 and you got none of the in the middle, and seeing him with the group of people that originally slaughtered the camp that he was in and scalped him and separated him from his wife, seeing him with that group attacking
the Shoshone and his wife being a part of the Shoshone, I feel like that'd be one of the craziest. Just how did we get here?
Yeah.
What could have possibly happened that led up to this set of circumstances? And I think that's why the show is so cool, is because where you start and where you end are so radically different. And in a mere 4 or 5 episodes, it takes you through that journey of A to Z, but nothing ends the way that it started.
Yeah.
Everything is different.
There's a lot of, I think one of my favorite parts kind of in the midst of all that is, okay, I need to throw this out there because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings here. I don't want to sound like I'm persecuting anyone.
Sure.
I have friends who are LDS, Mormons, whatever. They're good people. They're fine. The Mormons in this show are dicks.
Dude.
They are
oh my God.
awful. Really awful. Again, the Mormons in this show, or how the
Right.
Mormons are depicted in this show. I don't know how to say that. But there's a scene where they show, I think they're at Fort Bridger, and they're basically like taking these hogs. And they're like, oh, you gotta give them back. And he's like, you don't want to buy them, you got to pay double what I paid for them.
Right.
And it's this like tall, kind of gangly, like he's like one of the captains or something of like the Mormon army.
He's got the chops.
Got the chops, right? He's tall, real kind of gaunt looking. And I think his Bridger himself is like, he says something to him, and he's like, I can't even remember the verbal exchange, but he takes a shovel, I think it's a shovel or a hoe, and literally chops the front part of that dude's foot all the way off. And I went, it was, of all the, I mean, like, there's a lot of brutal stuff in this show, but that I was just like, that was, they did that on purpose. Like, they wanted to show me that shit on purpose.
That was crazy. I thought that whole storyline came to a sad ending too, with he finally got paid off. Everybody has a price. And then them just burning the town to the ground. Man, that was so like, I liked that character all the way. And like I said, I guess everybody has their price, but I hate that he ended up giving in and let them just torch that entire fort that was home to all these people. These people worked there. These people, you know, that was their town or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy who owned it got bought out. And he said, basically, you have till morning or till night, and we're coming back with torches, and we're burning this place to the ground.
Yeah.
And they did. And that was kind of sad to see, too.
It was. There's a lot of, like, religious piety kind of type. Like, the guy they got to play, like, the Mormon leader.
Brigham Young?
Brigham Young, thank you, yeah. He's especially, like, vile.
Dude, he's an evil man.
Insanely bad guy.
Yeah.
Does a great job. I guess that guy was on, like, Sons of Anarchy or something like that.
I don't know. I've never seen him. I was perplexed, though, because it's Brigham Young. There's a college named after him, BYU. Huge college, Brigham Young University.
I did not know that.
And I'm sitting here watching this show like,
I've heard that name.
Boy, this does not seem like somebody that should have a whole ass college named after him. But
do you think that they're up in the dorms just like, yeah, Brigham Young, yeah, burn down Fort Bridger, do it,
dude? I think in fairness, and it's not to justify anything anybody did, the show depicts the Mormons of that time as kind of savages, but it seems like everybody alive at that time had the Native Americans, I mean, the army, everybody to survive. Like, you had to be a savage to survive. So they weren't the only ones doing terrible things.
By the end of the show, everyone in the cast has shot, tomahawked, arrowed, fist fought, or scalped somebody or something. Yeah. Even the kid's like laid up with his leg busted. What'd you think about that, dude? His leg getting that scene
snapped by the horse.
Yeah. What the coolest part about that scene is when he's hollering. He's like, his legs broken in half, pretty much. He's hollering. He's in agony or whatever. And then Isaac leans down. And he's like, "Hey, it's just pain." And the kid's like, "Okay." I thought
and then
that
he
was-
puts it back in place.
Yeah.
That was cool. He goes, "It's just pain," and slams it back in place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that whole leg scene was really hard to watch.
Next time I stub my toe or get an owie, I'm going to be like sitting on the kitchen floor just like, it's just pain.
I know. Yeah, keep that in mind next time.
It's just pain.
My dad had a thought, and I think I thought this too, but I didn't really fully realize it. He got annoyed at the main girl because
Why?
he kept putting them in terrible situations. Isaac would say, "I'm going to go buy these horses. Stay up here." And she would walk down there and get everybody into a firefight and get them into bad trouble. And then when the little girl popped out, and Isaac's like, "We need to put her back. We need to get out of here. This is a trap." And she was like, "No, we have to take her back." And that ended up getting them in a terrible situation. And so he's like, if she would just,
I didn't think about
listen
that,
to
but your
him,
dad's onto something, I think.
you hired this guy to get you all the way to Crook Springs, but you're not going to listen to anything that he tells you to do. And on multiple occasions, she got them in up to their eyeballs in shit.
Yeah. I'd say at least a cool 60% of what happens to her and her son could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Looking back at it. Yeah, she kind of sucked in that regard. But I did like that by the end of the show, she's straight up willing to like pull a cork and shoot someone if she's got to. Like that one scene, I think it's when she's rescuing her son and she goes around and shoots all those people.
Oh, yeah.
And she like at one point, she runs out of bullets. She just picks up another gun and just keeps shooting people. She's like, fuck this shit.
The last thing that I had of note was the lead army guy that ended up getting killed. He had the mustache, and there was a couple scenes of him riding, talking about his experience there or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Was it the guy that they paid off, and then as he walked away, they shot him, or is that a different guy?
No, that like his boss basically, or it was the other guy.
Oh yeah.
The
Okay,
good guy.
Okay, yeah.
Him dying was
the
really
guy.
sad.
The guy who got his finger shot off while he's writing a letter.
Yes.
And he's like, and he sees his finger just laying there.
I really liked that guy. I hate that he died.
Yeah.
That other guy, totally betrayed all them.
Yeah. What a dick.
Dude. That, and then the Mormon guy who, not Brigham Young, not the guy with the chops, but the guy with the beard that was a part of that massacre.
Yeah. The guy who took a tomahawk to the forehead.
Yes, that guy's a crazy actor. Dude, there was a couple of scenes where he was like having a stare down with a Native American or something, and it was kind of a close shot on him.
Yeah.
And his eyes, dude, like there was something very just, you could see like evil in that guy's eyes.
It's intense, man. It's intense.
He was intense.
It's
So
good.
what'd you think overall? Give me like what'd you think of it? Rate it.
Overall,
Give me your final thoughts.
Overall, let's see. I'm gonna stick it with anything above an 8 is open season on. I'd watch that again. So
Sure.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
All right.
Extremely well shot. I love we talked about kind of the handy cam, rough camera angles. The first big knockdown drag out fight in the show is one of the coolest depictions of just like being in a battle or being attacked and not knowing what the fuck is going on.
Right.
It somehow accurately portrays that in a way that you understand what's going on without understanding what is going on in a weird way.
Yeah.
Love that. The action is just so brutal. There's so many people getting tackled. Like even the last one when Isaac is riding at that dude who's shooting him to death and he jumps off of his horse and tackles this dude. It has such impact on it. The action, the fight choreography, all of that. I don't think I've ever watched anything that made getting hit with an arrow seem so painful and terrible.
Right.
Like normally in like a regular old cowboy movie, they get hit and they're like, oh, and they just kind of fall down.
Right.
This makes getting hit by an arrow a legitimate, terrifying thing.
Yeah.
It's very scary. Yeah, I'm going to go 8.5. It's not quite a 9 just because I feel like it leans on that a little hard. I think I wanted a little more like I don't know. I think I could have done with 8 episodes, honestly, if you could have given me a little bit more context for everything that's going on and made me care about essentially these, 3 factions that are just, that all fucking hate each other. So a little more context would have gone a long way, but 8.5 still a really good score. I absolutely, I think, plan on running this back, hopefully.
Hell yeah, me too. Yeah. So did I overrate it?
Huh?
I said, do you feel like I feel like I really hyped this show up.
Do I feel like you overrated it?
Like, did I overhype it?
I thought you were like overrated. Like, sorry. I can give it an 8. No. No, you didn't overrate it. I think you gave it an appropriate. I think, like I said, 8.5 only because I maybe wanted it to be a little longer and a little slower, a little breathing room in between the scalping and the tomahawking. But I it's a great recommend. Absolutely. 100%.
Apparently, I've never seen this movie. The Revenant with Leonardo.
Yes. So actually,
this is the same director.
No, that was Inarritu. Man, what is that? Is I think a Spanish director. This was directed by Peter Berg, who directed The Lone Survivor. The Revenant is directed by Gonzalez Inarritu, or Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe what I saw, writer.
But you're not off target there. So in that movie, obviously Leonardo DiCaprio plays the main character, Hugh Glass. Mm-hmm. The young guy that's following, Tom Hardy's character around, that's Jim Bridger. That's a young Jim Bridger. So in effect, it falls within the same kind of time bracket as this show. A little bit. Obviously, this one comes a little later. Right. But same time period and similar vibes. Honestly,
that's what led me down the rabbit hole. There's a whole Reddit thing of people, the American Primeval Reddit. People are like, I feel like I just watched The Revenant, which I've never seen that movie, but everyone's like, it's the tight shots and the way that it's filmed is very, very similar to that. I don't know where I got the director thing. Obviously, I was wrong. I thought I read something like that. But
you would like The Revenant, man. It is it's this show. Like it'd be the perfect, dessert to the the buffet that this show was. Yeah. I think you'd enjoy.
It's on I put it on my watch list, so I will definitely watch it.
Yeah. It's a banger. It will make you afraid of bears. I'll tell you that.
I fear and respect the bear.
You're going to fear him and respect him a lot more after watching The Revenant, I'll tell you that. Graphic bear violence in that movie.
Good crushing. Glad you watched that show.
Yeah. Let's hit some write-ins before we sign off for the week.
Let's do it. Brevetos, when you were a kid, I did not pre-read these. When you were a kid, what was that one obscure game you still remember fondly? For me, this was always some bundled-in game that for some extended period was the only game you owned on some system or parent's computer. For me, it was the original Doom and ever-classic Duke Nukem 3D.
Okay.
Do you have any games that, maybe not your favorite game necessarily, not Metal Gear, not Grand Theft Auto, but a game that just like stands out from your childhood?
I do, and it's actually, this is a really opportune question because you know the game that I'm absolutely talking about. It had no business sucking me in the way it did. This was the last game I ever played on my PlayStation 1 before I upgraded to, I think, an Xbox. The Toy Story 2 game.
Dude,
for PlayStation
exactly
1.
Where I was going. Yeah.
Dude, that at a surface level, let me tell you, doesn't look like much. It looks like it looks like one of those slapped together Disney games. Yeah. But my God, dude, I spent hours in my room trying to beat the Toy Story. I was like, I'd already kind of like aged out of like the demographic that was being Toy Story was being marketed to, and I was sucked in to this game. In a way, I still remember sounds and stuff from that game. I was in it.
Dude, the level 1 when you're in Andy's room or his house.
Yep.
You can go to the attic and there's that robot on all the boxes you can box.
Gotta go down to the garage and race the car.
Yep. You gotta do that. I remember Al's Toy Barn.
Yep. That you go. I think. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the airport. You actually go into the conveyor belt area, and you're like hopping over the baggages and stuff.
Remember that? I remember a tree in the backyard. Zerg, the kite Zerg is at the top.
The construction zone.
Construction
zone. It had there was a puzzle that involved paint. That's all I remember.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
Dude, I can't remember what else. I remember that game, and I don't know if it really was hard or if I was just young. I remember it being very difficult. Very difficult.
It was because it didn't have the typical. So it was weird. Like the levels were kind of these open areas, and you could go and there were like guys that you could shoot and fight in between. Right. But each level had puzzles, and you could just go solve them wherever. Like you could go directly to the garage when you open up, or directly up to the attic or whatever. But you had to complete those challenges to win coins. And you had to collect a certain amount of coins to move on to the second level, which I thought was a cool mechanic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, some of them get pretty ridiculous, and it's like platforming, right? And platforming back then kind of sucked because we hadn't figured out like swiveling the camera like we have it now. Like now, if I've got to jump from this ledge to that one, I know where to position the camera to do that better. But we didn't have that back then. No.
And movement was with the directional buttons, not your analog stick.
Was it really?
Oh yeah.
I don't even remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think maybe because didn't one of the, boy, am I remembering wrong that like PS1 only had one joystick on it, or did they always have two?
No, they always had two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I feel like I remember like movement being directional, and then one of the sticks being the cam.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. It was not as graceful as it's executed today. So
no.
But yeah,
I would love to be able to find a way to fire that game back up today and just see.
Yeah. That's a banger. Great question, Brave Athos.
Yeah, that is actually the exact game I was going to. So that's funny that we both remember the one that way.
Yeah.
The other one for me, this is PlayStation 2. It's a little bit later, but Medal of Honor Frontline.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dude, like the opening scene, D-Day, when you're up on the beach, that game was so badass.
It is. I mean, it is pretty much like a shot-for-shot just rehash of Saving Private Ryan, but you don't care a lick because you're like, it's funny going back to it because it doesn't look great because it was a PlayStation 2. But at the time, I was like, this is peak, man. This is awesome. That was radical. Hell of a way to start a game.
Good question, Brave. Edward. Hey, fellas. Have you found that you stumbled Let me read this. Have you found that you game stumbled across, as in wasn't hyped for, but found on Epic Games for free? Well, I don't know what that means. And found it super immersive. For me, it's Hell Let Loose. It's a World War II MMO, but it's very realistic and slaps. It really does. I don't know if
I'm gonna guess he's asking, were you ever like, maybe not Epic Games because I don't think we shop around Epic Games Store, but have you ever been on like Game Pass or Steam or something and stumbled on a game that you thought was going to be a clunker and ended up sucking you in? I bet I can think of yours.
What?
Stalker 2.
Yes. I don't know if I expected it to be bad, but I certainly didn't expect it to grab me as much as it did.
Did you play that because you heard hype about it, or did you just see it on Game Pass and were like, well, let's give it a shot?
No, I was following it for a while leading up to it, looking at all the preview videos. I was tracking it for a long time, and then I was planning on buying it, and it just ended up being on Game Pass. I didn't know it was going to be on Game Pass, so I was tracking it for a while, and then when I saw it was on Game Pass, I was like, oh, too easy.
No brainer.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a game I like. Boy, do you remember renting games back in the day?
I do.
That was So
that
so
was
awesome.
I mean, you want to talk about that was how you found out.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Or
No.
your buddy let you borrow his copy of whatever, but
And I remember if it was like a new game, if it was a game you wanted, they would have the cases, and then behind them would be like the blank generic cases
right.
that would be there if it was in stock.
Right.
So if it was just the game case and nothing behind it, there wasn't a copy.
Didn't
but
have
if
it.
it had the multiple ones behind, then you're like, fuck yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Man, that is some good memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would say Stalker for mine. Nothing else really jumps out. Do you have anything? Maybe you just
Not really,
I feel
honestly.
like you do a lot of Game Pass games.
I think I've tried some, but honestly, like, and this is like a big driver for me thinking about getting rid of it. Game Pass, I mean.
Right.
I don't think I've ever rolled credits on a Game Pass game.
Yeah.
In the coming up on 6 years that I've had it, something like that. I played a lot of hours on Game Pass games, but man, I don't know if I'm the gamer I thought I was sometimes, man.
It's way too easy to jump ship
It is.
on
Yeah.
Game Pass to me. There's no commitment. It's just like anything. It's like Netflix. Like you're not going to sit through a whole movie that sucks because in 0 seconds you could have backed out of it and found one of 1,000 other things to
Yeah.
watch. There's no reason.
Ta-da, I'm watching The Office again.
Yeah, exactly. It's too easy to jump ship. So yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah. But yeah.
Um,
To your rental question, though, another game that I feel like you and I did have some memories with was that Star Wars Episode 1 game. Do you remember that on PlayStation 1 as well?
Yes.
That was a rental discovery for me, and that was a banger. I actually rented that like 5 or 6 weeks in a row
Right.
and ended up beating it, and then my parents bought it for me for Christmas. I'm like, you guys understand you've paid for this game probably 2 times over. I've already beaten it, and you bought it for me, but thanks. Appreciate it.
That game was really fun, man. I remember one of the later levels where you're kind of jumping on those platforms as Darth Maul and
Yeah.
Qui-Gon are fighting or whatever. It
There's
was like
some
a
tense
secret
moments.
area. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very, very, very tense. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to read this. It's less of a question, but there was some conversation in the gaming section about Indiana Jones. Speaking of games from Game Pass that we did not stick with, or that you didn't stick with.
Yeah. Case in point.
Brave Athos said, a huge nostalgia trip. It's okay. Snakebite Pain said, whatever time I have for a game is what it is, whether it's 30 minutes or 2 hours. Indiana Jones has enough to keep me occupied and interested, but I will say that traversing some areas, point A to point B, feels a little tedious at times. I'm sticking with the main story and avoid most of the side quests on this run, so I'm sure I'm not exploring the map as much as I could. I feel like a lot of people in here that talked were kind of on the same
wavelength.
Yeah, like it's not bad, but it's not as great as everybody has been saying.
Look, I think in a world where I was maybe 10 years older and was there for the Indiana Jones moment,
Right.
You know, like Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
If I was an Indiana Jones fan, maybe this
Right.
game is cooler to me. I started playing it and very quickly realized, oh, I don't actually care for Indiana Jones that much.
Right.
I don't think about the movies often. It's like the same with Star Wars, right? Like it's fine, but I don't. I say that I just talked about beating a Star Wars game, but yeah, I just don't think I'm as big of an Indiana Jones fan as I thought I was.
No, I'm not really either. Last one here. We'll clear out. We need some more questions. I think because we haven't done them the last few weeks, people stopped writing in. So
Write in.
We need to be loaded back up. One more from Brave Athos. Do either of you Baja Blast Warriors have any goals, resolutions, or otherwise going into this new year? For me, I'm trying to hold off on pre-workout and energy drinks when it comes to getting in the gym and rely on coffee and gummy worms instead. my goal was to get lean bean, shreddy wetty, 6-pack, washboard, fucking Shredsville over here, which I'm still in the process of doing. You know, it doesn't happen overnight, fellas. But
It's true.
I have not let off that goal. I've been hitting all my workout goals, my food goals. Like I'm dropping weight, so we're on our way.
That's what I'm talking about. Same for me. Lean bean, shreddy wetty. I also just want to I want to make better stuff. I've realized. I just want to make better stuff. I've been making videos for several years now, and most of it I make with my cellular telephone. Mm-hmm. And while that's fun and people seem to enjoy that well enough, I want to make better stuff. Stuff like this. Stuff that, you have to tilt your phone sideways to watch for a start.
Right.
Yeah. I just want to make stuff that's, better. Got a little more polish to it. I want to put my talents to work.
You have many.
Oh,
we talking like new camera here, new setup?
No, I think I've got all the tools. I think I just need to manage the time better, right?
Sure.
It takes work. You want it to have polish and look better. You gotta grind on it a little more, and that's okay.
Put the work in.
That's right, baby.
You're almost at 400. I saw.
Hey, we're getting there. We're fixing to break 390. We're sniffing 390.
That's crazy. 400 is crazy, man. That's a big number. That's a really big number.
Thank you, man. Thank you. If I could get more of those people watching the videos, that would be dope.
Go watch his videos
right now.
Go watch his videos. I'm kind of with him on the energy drinks. They
taste good, but they're not good for you, man.
They're not good for you. And I'm at a point now where they don't do anything hardly. It's the dopamine hit of like going and getting it and cracking it and taking that first sip. But afterwards, I don't ever feel anything at all.
I feel pretty energized from an energy drink. I think.
Really?
Yeah. I think I still get the effect because I don't have them very often.
Yeah. See, if I leave the house, I'm getting one. It's like I can't. I get out, I can't not stop and get one.
That's why they don't hit you as hard.
Yeah.
You gotta ease off the gas, brother. I'm telling you, gas. Man. Get you some coffee, make it a little stronger if you gotta. Drink that for 2 weeks. And then get an energy drink. It's like jet fuel straight into the vein, brother.
I would like to get to a place where it's like a Friday treat or something like that. Once or twice a week. Not every day. So
yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that to your liver, to your kidneys, your adrenal glands.
I don't.
It's not good for you. It's not good for you, young man.
Maybe I'll embark on this with you, Brave. That's all we got. That's it.
Good write-ins. Hey, there's a channel in our Discord that we read those from. It's called Questions for Podcasts. We'll have a link to our Discord in the description for this episode. If you like this episode, make sure you like and subscribe. If you watched, if you listened, leave us a review. It goes a long way. Pushes us to the top of the stack for others to find and enjoy. We'll be back next week for episode 62. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to us. For our return listeners, for our new listeners, welcome. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you didn't get annoyed. And, that's literally the bar has been set low. So
go watch American Primeval if you haven't.
American Primeval's on Netflix. It's a great show. Check that out. Sakamoto Days. I'm prescribing you a soft recommend. Sakamoto Days.
I might go hit one right now.
Go hit one right now. 20 minutes, and then you're in bed and you're off to the races.
Hell yeah. It looks good. I will check it out.
You got to go bump that 30% recovery rate up a few notches. I don't even want to know. My numbers would be negative, probably.
You'd be on 1% every day.
Yeah. It's like, how are you alive? My watch is literally calling emergency services. All right.
You need to know things, though. Oh, bye.
Baja blessings on your tiny heads. We love you. Little kiss. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.